Hey, everybody. Thank you all. Thank you so much for your patience through the technical difficulties launching. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us here in the chat as we got this live stream kicked off. So welcome to another Heartbeat tutorial. As you guys are joining us in the chat, please fire off where you're tuning in from. We'd love to get a sense of where in the world everybody's coming, either state, nation, wherever you are across the world. I see we already have folks tuning in from Texas and Denver. Really cool. Let us know where you're tuning in from. I am tuning in from upstate New York, and we have Krista Miller here. Krista, where are you tuning in from today?
I'm in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, fantastic. All right, we've got Czech Republic, we've got Edmonton, Alberta in the house. We've got a lot of, we got Atlanta, Georgia in the house. Put these guys up on the screen so you guys can see where we're all tuning in. Oh, we got a fellow Wisconsinite.
Yeah,
Wisconsinian?
yeah, Wisconsinite. I'm in Rice Lake, Stephanie. Are you close by?
Awesome. We got, okay, awesome. And we got Irving, Texas. We've got San Diego, California in the house. Awesome, guys. Well, I don't want to waste any more time. I want to get right into it because we did have a slight delay on the start. We are talking about how to get hundreds of new members in your community with a virtual summit. Really excited to have Krista here. Krista is the virtual summit strategist behind Summit in a Box and the Summit Host Hangout podcast. She helps membership site owners replace slow growth marketing with high converting virtual summits that lead to hundreds of members added to their membership. Guys, if that's not the reason we're all here, then I don't know what we're even doing. Like, that is the whole thing. We want to get a bunch of people in our communities enjoying the wonderful experiences that we have built for them. So the purpose of this session is that virtual summits are the most powerful way to build a membership community. And by the end of the tutorial, we know you'll know why summits and memberships are a perfect match and have a high-level understanding of the summit hosting process and the keys to creating a summit that fills up your membership. Krista, if you could just give us a quick, who are you aiming this at? Give us a quick little context over who this is for, and then I'll give some final house rules and we'll get right into it.
Yeah, I mean, so virtual summits can really be for anyone. I have tailored this presentation for people with memberships that they are trying to grow, whether you're really starting in the beginning and you know your membership works and you want to add some fuel to that fire, or you have hundreds of members already and want hundreds more. Summits are such a great way to add a huge influx of members when you need it and also just grow your community. So if that's what you're looking for, it's going to be great.
Awesome. Fantastic, guys. So as always, this is a live stream. So if you're tuning in on LinkedIn, normally YouTube, I don't know if that connection broke today, which is why we got delayed. But if you're in any of those places, the chats are consolidated. Those will all feed back to us. We can see your chat. I can get the questions up on screen. If we have too many questions, we'll cluster a few at the end. And if we even run out there, we're going to have the questions continued over in our customer community, The Hearth, which is, of course, free to join for any aspiring or currently building community admin. So let's get this kicked off. As always, guys, we're here to learn. So let's be open and inclusive and welcoming of everybody in the chat. But Krista, please kick us off and teach us what we came here to learn.
All right, let's do it. Let me get my slides up here. And I'm so excited to go through this. I have a lot to cover. So if there is, and I have a couple of points built in throughout where if you guys want to go a different direction, have other questions, you're like, I know all this, let's go deeper, we can do that. But I'm going to start kind of with the basics. But I'm super pumped to talk about how to add hundreds of members with a summit. This is my favorite topic to talk about. So here's an overview of what I plan for us to cover. We're going to start by covering what a virtual summit is in case there is anyone who just doesn't know what I'm referring to here. I'm guessing most of you do know, but I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Maybe put a number 1 through 10 in the chat to give me an idea of where you are with your understanding on what a summit is. So 1 is I have no idea what you're talking about. 5 is I'm pretty sure, but clarification is good. 10 is I know what a summit is. So you know exactly what you're talking about. Okay, I see lots of 8s. Great. So you're pretty confident, it sounds like. Okay. That's great to know. Other things I plan to cover are just a quick overview of the benefits of hosting one, why summits and memberships are the perfect pair, how to incorporate a membership into a summit, and then the 5 keys of making it all work. So we'll start with more simple high-level stuff, and we'll just kind of layer it in deeper as we go throughout. And feel free to ask questions. I'll pause throughout when we have a good time for that. So quick overview of what a summit is. It's an online event, kind of like this one. Usually there is one host. Sometimes there's multiple hosts, but usually it's going to be one person hosting this summit, and they bring in a group of speakers. Usually that's going to be between 15 and 30. I have seen summits with over 100 speakers. I would not recommend that, but 15 to 30 is kind of the average. But all of these people are coming together to share valuable information based around a specific topic. So I kind of pulled up one of my latest summits here just as an example for you. So I teach virtual summits, obviously. So when I go super meta and host a summit about summits, I am the host, right? So I'm the one putting this whole thing on, and I bring together a group of speakers. So this summit I have here on the screen was all about growing your membership through summits and like other complementary strategies. And instead of me doing all the teaching, each speaker came in and they taught a 15 to 25-minute lesson on their sweet spot. And the great part of that is then that the promotion, getting people to this was not all up to me, right? All of us are coming together and sharing this event with our audiences. So not just me promoting, not just me feeling like I have to spend tons of money on ads, although I do throw some money at ads because it's a great thing to do here. But all the speakers promoting makes for significantly wider reach than I could ever get for myself, and it brings more value to the attendees. So it's just a really powerful type of event to host. So as for how it works, when we promote to our audience, they're signing up for a free ticket. Okay, not a $27 ticket, not a $1 ticket, a free ticket, okay? Because that's what gets you thousands of leads, and this strategy banks on us getting thousands of the right people in the door. That free ticket generally gives 24 to 48 hours of access to all of those pre-recorded speaker presentations. It usually gives access to a community, right? Let's give them a taste of what it's like to be in community with you. And sometimes it is going to include some fun extras, maybe like games, prizes, live sessions, could include some things like that. But yeah, just a note, like I'm already talking about community here. This is like part one that makes summits and memberships such a great match because we're working in community from the very beginning. Even people just coming in with a free ticket get a taste of that community. From there, we have our first opportunity to monetize with an all access pass. So this is an upgraded way to experience the summit and our first opportunity as hosts to make money from it. I guess technically sponsors would be first, but we're not getting into that today. That's just a whole new can of worms. But that all access pass includes like ongoing access to presentations. So their time to watch those sessions isn't limited or isn't as limited, right? When I host a summit, I just give them ongoing access to presentations. It doesn't cost me anything extra to just let them keep that access. Some people will do like a year access or something like that. Point is, the All Access Pass gives them a much longer time to watch those sessions. We also want to have a bundle of related bonuses from the speakers, maybe some partners, maybe some affiliates, and from you as the host. And then we can add in fun extras to complement those presentations. So I like adding a private podcast feed for listening on the go. Most audiences really love that. I like to include session notes. We'll do a couple like private live workshops just for people in the All Access Pass and things like that. You don't have to like go wild with it, but this is kind of what I like to see in a fully built out All Access Pass offer that's going to convert well and make 5 figures, sometimes even 6, before we even talk about getting people into a membership community. We will also circle back to this later when we're talking about like how to add hundreds of members to your membership, because this All Access Pass is a big part of that strategy. So we'll come back there. But just because we are here today talking about adding members to your membership, I don't want you to underestimate the power of an All Access Pass. To give you a few examples of recent results from our clients with memberships, here's a few examples of the All Access Pass sales. We're not even talking about their membership. We have Ashley, who has a membership community for knitters, brought in over $42,000 just with the All Access Pass. Ruth has a B2B membership, but through her All Access Pass, she brought in over 16. And like the numbers, like they get bigger, So like you can do so much with an All Access Pass that can do so many other great things for your business. I just don't want you to miss that part when we are going to be focusing more on the membership side of things. But essentially with your summit, you're bringing in a group of speakers to talk about a topic that will attract your perfect fit members. You and they are promoting a free ticket. Attendees are signing up for free, and some will decide to upgrade to an All Access Pass. We're usually aiming for anywhere from 8 to 15% of people upgrading to that All Access Pass. They can join the attendee community, and then each day of the summit, they'll get limited time access to a group of presentations, all based around this specific topic of the summit that they are interested in. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions on the basics, please let me know. I'm happy to answer those. And And I could truly talk for hours about the long-term benefits of hosting summits. Our clients have become international speakers, have been invited to collaborate with the biggest brands in their space, have gotten themselves on speaking circuits, and so much more. But in the most basic sense, summits are incredible for growing your business, whether you are a newbie or you've been in business 10 plus years, because they'll get you way more visible, way faster than anything else you've ever done, and add thousands of targeted people to your email list at once when done correctly. And then the event itself, like, again, all of this banks on the event being hosted the right way, but it will typically bring in 5 figures, sometimes even 6 figures in sales. For a lot of people who do this for the first time, they're like, I've never made that much money at once before. And that was absolutely my experience. Actually, even to this day, my biggest launches ever have come from summits. You also now have connections with, let's say, 20 plus experts, depending on how many speakers you have, and the social proof that comes from those people promoting an event that you are leading. And it's the perfect way to grow your membership. And that's what we're going to get into next. So summits are so powerful. And I just wanted to give you a little glimpse of that before we kind of veer off in the membership direction. Before we do dig deeper, I just want to pause and address this, because I can pretty much guarantee that there's someone here right now wondering if they have a big enough audience to host a summit. We can dive into this more later if you want. We can talk about all the mindset blocks that come with hosting summits. But for now, I'm just going to ask you to trust me when I say that a successful summit does not rely on the size of your audience. It can help, of course, but I can share so many examples of people who started literally from scratch, used a summit to put their name on the map, and would encourage you to do the same. So with that being said, let's put any self-doubt aside and get into our membership-specific content here. I also thought I should probably address how someone like me without a front-end membership came to specialize in using summits to grow memberships, in case anyone here is like, why are you talking about this when you don't have a membership? I actually used to see memberships as less than, right? And I know now that's so wrong. But then I had a client with a membership join, and I collaborated with her to customize our summit to course launch strategies to work for her membership. She had added 26 members to her membership when she tried to launch it through a summit on her own. When we teamed up and did it with her, she added over 300 members. And she told her coach, who is a huge name in the online business industry, who then asked us to produce a summit for her that would launch her membership. And we brought in over 500 members for her. And the rest is history, right? Word got out from there that we're really good at getting people in memberships, and people started joining. We were working with them, walking them through this system. And time after time, we'd see 200 new members, 150, 1,000, 300, 650, over and over and over. And it's kind of my thing now. For the record, after I saw how powerful memberships are, I did create a back-end membership for our most advanced level clients. So I do have one. You just don't see it. And it's added so much stability to our business. So I love it, and I love memberships. And I just wanted to give you that little background of why I'm talking about it. So why are summits and memberships such a powerful pair? We've talked about it a little bit already, but I just want to come out and say it. It's a combination of 2 main things. First is that community aspect. One of the most powerful parts of a summit is the community it creates. And people are so excited to be a part of something at the same time with thousands of other people who care about the same thing as them. Whether it's knitting, whether it's business, whether it's something to do with kids, whether it's a specific struggle at work, whatever. It's such a good feeling just as a human to be in community with other people who get whatever it is you're passionate about or going through or trying to do better, right? And the thing is, they don't want that community to end once the summit ends. They want to continue that. And your membership is the perfect way for them to get that continuation. The second part of this is the low barrier that memberships tend to have. So when I launch my course or group program through a summit, that's a multi-4-figure investment that I'm asking someone to make within sometimes a week of meeting me, right? Now, it does well, it works, whatever, but I'm not going to add hundreds of people. With the type of memberships I'm specifically talking about here, you already have a lower price point, right? And so when I'm saying add hundreds of members, maybe this is something else I should have specified at the beginning. Typically, when we see people adding hundreds of members, it's memberships with a price point, lower end price point, right? I would say $70 per month or below. Not that you can't do really great things with higher ticket memberships, but if you're looking to add hundreds of people, it's going to be those lower ticket ones. But it's low barrier, right? And then you can also play around with things like trials, which totally or mostly remove that pricing barrier. And that could be a free trial, it could be a $1 trial, whatever, but it works incredibly well to get people in the door while they're already excited, already craving that community, already making progress, and then you get to let your membership do the talking from there. So this combination is why I'm here talking specifically about memberships to you, because other offers do not have these two things as a part of them. And for those of you, again, with higher ticket memberships, you can absolutely still launch them through your summit. You're just going to use some more customized strategies, more along the lines of what I would see like as a course launch strategy. And if that's anyone here, and we have time during the Q&A, I'm happy to talk about that as well. And we'll just kind of keep that in mind as we go here. We'll be talking a little bit more about lower ticket memberships. So let's touch on how the membership ties in. The first thing you're going to do is build awareness of your membership throughout the event. And something I see people just kind of default to is almost hiding it. It's almost like, I don't know, they think it should be this big surprise at the end of their summit. And that's not at all what it should be like. You should be building awareness. People should know that you have a membership, what the name of it is, and what the point of it is from the time they hit your registration page. Right on your registration page, we're going to have a couple sentences about your membership on there. The All Access Pass is going to be incorporated. Your emails, when you introduce yourself in the video, hi, I'm so-and-so, creator of XYZ membership where I help you blank. Continue on with your video. We are building awareness all throughout, and there are other bigger things we can do to build awareness as well. Point being, they know what it is throughout the event, and they're going to be excited to join by the end of it, and they know that you have a special offer coming as well. None of this is a surprise. For those of you with the lower ticket memberships who are comfortable with trials, I would say try this first. But if you know trials convert well for you, incorporate a trial. Oh my goodness, it does such good things. And a lot of people are always concerned with, well, what's the retention rate after the first month, right? If they get in for free or even for $1, what's that going to look like? It depends on your membership. If your membership has a high churn rate, you're going to see the same thing with the trial. So I think the lowest we've ever seen, the lowest retention we've seen was about 30%. But they had low retention outside of the summit as well, right? Our clients with better retention tend to see between 60 to 75% of people stay on after that trial. So if you're like, I'm not so sure about that, and you're looking for ways to really grow your membership, it's something to consider. And then do a launch. And when I say launch, that doesn't mean we're presenting a brand new offer during a summit. Please don't do that. But let's make it a big deal, right? Let's do something special with it. Let's have, if you're not going to do a trial, or even if you do a trial, what if we do a special bonus? What if we have a special live session coming in, a week or two after the summit ends? If you're comfortable with webinars, let's do one of those, or let's do a workshop that gets them into the membership. And then we're going to do a follow-up email sequence afterwards, right? So at the end of your summit, you're drawing a ton of attention to that membership. And I touched on this, the follow-up email sequence. And of course, there's a lot of nuance here. And you can ask me any questions you want and we can dive deeper, but I wanted to give you kind of an overview of what it looks like to tie a membership in with a summit. And kind of circling back to the All Access Pass, incorporating a trial into your All Access Pass is a really powerful piece of this. Our clients typically see 30 to 40% of people who buy the All Access Pass then take their membership trial. And then anywhere from 2 to 5% of the rest of the attendees. So that as a bonus to your All Access Pass, number one, is going to increase the conversion rates of your All Access Pass. And number two, get more people in your membership. So all the strategies between summits and memberships just work so well together. With that being said, of course, the strategy you use matters. You're not going to go throw a summit together and see some of the numbers I've shown or talked about. Like I said, we had one client who tried to do it on their own, added 26 members, then added over 300 when we're like, no, let's do it this way instead. And we've seen that happen several times. So next, I want to kind of walk you through the most important things you need to pay attention to here. So when I'm talking about the strategy matters, you have to host a summit that works, let's go over what I actually mean by that. So I want to talk about the 5 keys to adding hundreds of members with the virtual summit. And we're going to have plenty of time for Q&A here. I've seen, I think at least one come in so far, but keep them coming. I can do rapid fire summit questions all day long. We'll have plenty of time for that. So
and I'm logging all the questions for later, Krista, so we're not losing track of any of them. I got them in a doc.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So now that you have that context to work with, let's dive in to these 5 keys. So the first key to having a successful launch of your membership with a summit is your membership, okay? Like, we need a membership that actually works. I don't care how many thousands of people you can get registered for an awesome summit. If your membership doesn't convert, it's not going to do you any good. Like, summits are powerful, but they're not magical. So we need a good membership. Building on that just a little bit, here are the 3 big mistakes you can make here. So first is using a summit to test a totally new offer. Please don't do that. Let's do some kind of even super simple test of a new membership or a new whatever it is before you host a summit to launch it. 3 to 4 months to put together a summit it's way too much work to test something new. Let's test something in a couple weeks instead. Use summits for offers that already convert, okay? Kind of same thing there. And then another mistake here is using a summit to launch an offer that doesn't retain members. So if your churn rate is super high, like, I would really encourage you to spend a month or 2 focusing in on that, getting your systems and your membership better, making it more usable and exciting and whatever, so that once you do add those hundreds of people, they're sticking around and you don't feel like you have to do this constantly, right? It's like a once or twice a year situation and you're good to go. All right, so again, use a summit to launch a membership that you know converts, even if it has only converted for a tiny audience. Our second key here to adding hundreds of members through a summit is the summit, but specifically a high converting summit. Like, we want a summit that's set up to convert. So a 3 to 5 day I would say 3 to 4 day engaging online event with a group of speakers sharing presentations based around a specific topic that your audience needs. So when you're thinking of your audience, we're talking about the audience of your membership. What topic is really going to drive them in? We're going to craft a 3 to 4 day event for those people. And it works because like, it's connecting you with speakers who become affiliates. It's attracting an audience, nurturing that audience with really engagement-based strategies. It's establishing the know, like, and trust with you really, really quickly. It's building desire for your offer and creating a transformation for attendees all at once. You're not having to piece together 6 different strategies to make all this happen. It is all built into the strategy. And I don't know if you have thought of it this way, but a summit is a full funnel from lead generation to launch, built into one event and condensed into this small and high impact time frame. So it's doing it all for you. It's doing all the things we need to make our businesses thrive. I would say the top mistake I see here is just assuming you can reverse engineer someone else's summit. I've had so many people watch these big name people host summits, assume everything went well, copy it, and the summit you're copying didn't work in the first place. So what do you think it's going to do for yours? Just keep that in mind, right? You don't always know what's actually going on behind the scenes in someone's summit. People can make things look really pretty. It's not always very pretty, and I have been able to work with people after that, and we're like, that was a mess. Help me make it better next time. So please just keep that in mind. All right. So what makes these summits perform well? We're going to spend the last few points here talking about these things. The way you position your summit is huge. So this includes positioning that both attracts the right audience to the event and aligns perfectly with the membership you want to launch. This is going to make sure that we're not only filling your funnel with leads, we're not just throwing thousands of random people at you, but filling it with the right kinds of leads who are the perfect fit for your membership. So your positioning includes a few different pieces here. So first, you have the specific group of people the summit is for. Who's the audience? This is very important. We'll walk through this a little bit more in a second here. But from there, you have the tangible outcome your summit will create for those people. What's it going to do for them? And then third is the messaging you use to communicate both of those first 2 pieces. We want it to be super, super clear. And then when you do that correctly, when this positioning is spot on, your summit attracts the right people and makes them actually want to sign up. So from there, you see your number of registrations skyrocket. It leads speakers to actually be excited to participate in your event. So maybe if you think of the past few pitches you might have received, so much of our decision goes into how what we are being pitched is positioned. If we understand it, if we care about it, if it's for an audience we even want to be in front of. Keep that in mind when you are crafting the summit. We want it to be something others want to be a part of. And then the right positioning also makes writing copy so much easier and more effective. And with the amount of copy that goes into hosting a summit, you just want this to be easier. And if we can make that happen at the beginning with positioning, let's do that. And then it also just builds desire for your membership while helping your attendees make progress through the summit, get a transformation, whether or not they choose to upgrade to the All Access Pass or their membership. But we're going to see it make a lot of people ready for that next step with you. The big mistake I see all the time here is vague or meaningless summit positioning. And you might think, oh, no, I wouldn't do that. But almost every summit host we've ever worked with has needed help on this piece or has had something that could be improved here. And I've seen some of the biggest business owners out there get this wrong and then go on to say that summits don't work because of it. When really it's because they hosted a summit no one really cared about because the positioning didn't mean a whole lot. So some examples of vague positioning, and like I never want to use real examples for this because I never want to make anyone feel bad. So I just made these ones up or kind of chose some that I see all the time. But a summit to help online business owners grow their business. We can't get away with that anymore this day and age. A summit to help entrepreneurs make more money. A summit to help burnt out moms be happier. A summit to help intuitive women find inner peace is one that I somehow see a lot. Positioning like this is what will lead you to see those like 20 to 30% industry standard conversion rate is what's normal on the registration page. We want to at least double that, right? But this kind of messaging is what helps you see really low conversion rates. And that is like, that's not going to get you any of the numbers we're talking about. On the flip side, let's go over some summits that are positioned really well. These are client examples that really nailed it, but we have a summit to help crochet business owners increase profit while nurturing their love for crochet. A summit to help small churches reignite their children's ministry. A summit to help moms of toddlers learn techniques to regain control without yelling. A summit to help card makers find inspiration for and make their holiday cards. Like, do you see the difference? These ones are so much more attention grabbing and exciting, and that's what we are going for with your summit. We want it to be something tangible and targeted and exciting and timely if we can make it that way. So I want to kind of get you started with some brainstorming here. And like positioning is really not something that probably 95% of people can just sit down and figure out in 5 minutes. But these questions can kind of get your wheels turning. So first, who is the audience for your business as a whole? Easy. And then what subsets can you break that down to? Specifically for you, I want you looking at who is the audience for your membership. And from there, are there subsets you can break that down into? So for me, I do have a very wide audience of kind of all online business owners. Some subsets for me would be membership site owners, course creators, people with high ticket programs, one-on-one coaches, service providers. Even those, all of those are very broad for summits, but I just wanted to give you some examples. So what subsets could you break your audience down into? And then really it can be as simple as which of those are you most drawn to. And you could host a summit for that. Or if you want to be more strategic about it and have the data and experience to be able to be strategic, who do you get the best results for? Who tends to be the least hesitant about jumping into your membership and giving it a try? Like you can do it that way as well. We just have a lot of people who want to go for the audience that they're most drawn to. And typically you're most drawn to an audience because you feel like you get them the best results. So a lot of times it can just be that simple question. Which subset of your bigger audience are you most drawn to? And not everyone has to niche down into subsets, but almost everyone has to. Like even like I keep using knitters as an example. For some reason I have like 5 people with knitting memberships in our group program right now, but even they have to niche down. We would think of knitting as a pretty niche topic. Even they're having to niche down and be like, okay, this one's about a summit about knitting garments specifically. We can go through more examples later if you want. From there, you have your audience. What do those people need help with that doesn't apply to everyone on the internet? Right? We're not going to help business owners or even a really niche subset of business owners grow their business or make more money. That is way too vague, way too broad. Let's help them with something really specific. And when you get specific with your audience, that gives you the ability to get more specific with what they actually need help with. And then I would challenge you to take it even further after that. How can you make that even more specific and even more actionable? Dig deeper than you think you need to. I'd rather have you come back up a few steps than, stop before you've niched down enough. And then you also, again, want to do a gut check at the end for how can you position all of this to build desire for your membership without replacing it or distracting from it. So for example, if you had a Pinterest 101 membership, you wouldn't want to host a summit all about Pinterest because they're going to be like, I just learned all of this stuff in the summit, so why do I need your membership? We want it to be a kind of a supplement, summit step 1, membership step 2 kind of situation in most cases at least. I would say positioning is both the most important and the hardest to get right, but it is so worth the effort, the thought, the time you put into it, because even if absolutely everything else for the summit is done perfectly, the positioning will be what causes the difference I talk about in conversion rates, where you can literally double or triple your conversion rates just because of positioning and all the other things that helps you do really well. So if I give you one more kind of more tangible example of this, I could host a summit to teach business owners how to grow their business with summits or make more money or grow your list. I could try to get creative with exactly how I'm saying that. But our last couple summits, one of them was at 100 members tier membership with a summit. That was great. And then we also have, like, for course creators, reach your biggest launch yet with a virtual summit. Those aren't our exact taglines. Like, we make them much more exciting than that. But just to give you a general idea of what the overall topic is, we're getting much more specific, and we can do that because we niche down with the audience. All right. So the fourth key here is your summit speakers. And these are speakers who will both bring an audience and build an audience from participating. Okay. So we don't just care about ourselves. We don't just care about how many leads can I get through the summit. We also want to choose speakers who will benefit themselves, because that's just good for everybody. But this piece here is why the size of your current audience does not matter. It does not dictate whether or not you can host a successful summit. Everyone always wants to know how many speakers you have to have. There's really no set rule, but like I talked about earlier, I would really recommend, I said 10 to 30 on this slide. I would really say between 15 and 30. My events typically have between 20 and 30. The key is that these speakers, you're not just choosing the first people that come to mind. They need to be really strategically selected to bring in the right audience and build an audience themselves. They'll come in and deliver a value-packed presentation during your event, and it all comes together well. But like I said, the biggest mistake here is inviting the wrong people to speak. And this tends to show up in the form of inviting the first people who come to mind and just kind of generally prioritizing the wrong things in your speaker search, which leads to speakers who don't promote or promote without success. So for example, pitching the big name influencer you have in mind that you're scared to even email. They're probably not going to promote anyway. Just choosing your business besties, choosing the person you see speaking at every single summit. Those choices, while they're easy to make, it's easy to find those names, they're not going to do the best things for your summit. So you need to do some digging. I have all kinds of steps to walk through for how to find the perfect speakers, how to do a brainstorm, but I want to just touch on the most important thing. You want to look for this audience match. So the speakers you pitch have to have the exact same audience as you are targeting through your summit. And I saw a question come in. How do you know if your summit positioning is specific enough? Well, first, just go till you think it's too specific. But you know it's too specific if you can't find speakers who have that same audience, right? You're so niche down that no one else talks to just that audience. Then you know you have to go back up a step. Otherwise, if you are pitching speakers who have a different audience than your summit, they're not going to be excited to be a part of it. You're going to get a lot more no's. But even if they say yes, they're not going to be likely to promote because they're promoting something that's not relevant to their audience. And if they are kind enough to promote, it doesn't do anything because it's being promoted to the wrong people. Right? So I used to host a summit for brand and web designers, and I was looking for people who specifically marketed themselves and had offers for brand and web designers, not online business owners, not creatives or anything like that. Brand and web designers were the speakers I was bringing in, or people with that audience were the speakers I was bringing in. Again, without an audience match, your speakers aren't going to be excited to be a part of it. They're less likely to promote. If they do promote, they're not going to see great results, and neither are you. So it doesn't do anyone any good. And I wanted to show you this because the difference between summits 3 and 4 here, the 22K summit and the 60K summit, this jump was literally when I figured this out, and that was the only change I made. So after I hosted this 22K summit, I put all the affiliate commissions in Airtable base, and I sorted by commission amount. And I was like, okay, why do some speakers get thousands of dollars in commissions here? Some promoted, I know they promoted hard, they have like 100. What's going on? And it was like a light bulb, right? Or also like a face palm at the same time. Like, oh my gosh, hello, all the speakers at the top of the list have the exact same audience as me. Let's key in on that next time. And it tripled the results. It was absolutely wild. And now it just seems so obvious to me, but I think maybe it's not for a lot of people. So I really want to point that out. It is really, really important. And I also want to point out this dip to the 3K here after my first one. This happened because I tried to change up my positioning, which was the previous key we talked about here. It was not as It was vague. It was not exciting. It was not a tangible outcome, and people did not care about it. So I got to prove that point in my own summits as well. And then finally, the fifth key I wanted to dive just a little bit deeper on is awareness, right? So the final key to adding hundreds of members with a summit is building that awareness. And this is awareness for your membership that you're building in throughout your summit without being pitchy and gross, right? We're not just pitching your membership at every single step, but we're building awareness of it. And you can kind of compare these ideas. Like, which of these launches do you think will have better results? Summit A, which is a total pitch fest where attendees can't do anything without running into a heavy pitch of your membership. I feel like this is the way summits were done back when I hated them. Summit B, where there's no mention of your membership and attendees don't even know it exists until suddenly, surprise, the cart's open and they're being invited to join. Or Summit C, where they've slowly become aware of your membership. They know that it's going to be available as the summit has gone on, like they know when it's opening, but they aren't being pitched for it until they're ready for it, and it's going to be done in like a way that feels not slimy and gross. Like, obviously I am like setting you up here. Summit C is the obvious choice, but I wanted to put these next to each other so you could kind of do that comparison. So the big mistakes you want to avoid here are either turning your summit into a pitch fest or blindsiding attendees with a pitch at the end when they just weren't expecting it. Neither of those things goes over well, and there's definitely a fine line there. That's why we want to build awareness for your membership all throughout. Like, we want attendees begging you to let them in if you're not like letting them in all throughout with a trial built into your all access pass. And I have seen it happen several times where they're like literally like, oh my gosh, here's my credit card. Oh my gosh, take my money. I have screenshots I should have put on the slide of people saying those exact things. And of course, like, there are other things you can do. Like, something else I like to do to build awareness is incorporate a scholarship into my summit. So like for you, maybe it's like a year access to your membership. One person gets to win. But the great thing is, number one, you get to impact someone in a huge way. But number two, whenever you're telling people to apply for the scholarship, you're getting to tell them why the membership is so great without having to pitch it. So like, that's just another example of how you can kind of get creative with the ways you're building awareness throughout the summit. So those 5 pieces are a few of the keys, and I would say the biggest keys that will lead you to fill your funnel with leads and add hundreds of members through a summit. And there's like so much, right? Literally, I have over 300 podcast episodes talking about summits. I could talk about summits for days, but these are the first things I just wanted to get your wheels turning on as you start to think about if a summit could be a good move for you for growing your business and your membership. So we talked about a whole lot. The summit model leads to list growth, revenue, visibility, members, all the things. We talked about why summits and memberships are the perfect pair, the basics of tying them together, and the most important keys of making it all work. I am very excited to dive into your questions. I do have a quick freebie if you want to grab it, if you kind of want to like dive in deeper, really specifically with the things we were talking about here. I have a 5-minute summit roadmap. It's at summitbox.co/5 minutes. Literally, I'll have you set a timer for 5 minutes, so it won't take you any more than that to make some of the biggest and most important decisions around your summit planning. And that's what I got for you, and I am pumped to dive into these questions. I hope this was helpful.
We have so many good ones.
Anyway. Okay,
Krista, I am happy I'm here, and I'm happy I got to learn so much as well. That's what my favorite secondary benefit of co-hosting these sessions is the free education that I get to have just here too as well. Guys, I've logged every one of your questions in the from the chat. So if I can't get the graphic to go up on screen, I'm at least going to read them out here for us, just because some of them are way up there at this point in the chat. Let me just go in order from top down. We had 4 folks agree on this very question. So Rob, Laura, Tim, and Alicia in the chat. What or how do you handle a revenue split between the speakers and you? What sort of compensatory agreement do you have? Different versions of that question. Everybody asked the kind of same vibe.
Yeah. The most common and most widely accepted is like an affiliate model where they're getting, what I do is they get 40 to 50% commissions on all access pass sales. And then if you're launching your membership through it, I would do whatever your normal affiliate commission is for your membership. So if you do like 30% recurring commission or whatever, they would also get that on your membership. If anyone they send to the summit then joins there. So that's the most common one. People get creative in all kinds of different ways with that. But for most industries, start with that 40 to 50% commission on the all access pass.
Yep, and just guys, this way you can spin up multiple affiliate programs inside your Heartbeat community. This is what that's for. So you can have, even if you want to make a different one for the folks that are going to be speakers versus your members and your advocates that way. Question number 2. Alicia asks, my offer is $97 a month. How does that affect the scale of success? Because you gave that $70-ish point as kind of a cutoff.
Yeah, so the biggest reason I see memberships with a bit of a higher price point, we don't typically see hundreds of new members added because, number one, the higher the price of the membership, the less likely you probably are to want to include a free or $1 trial, right? Because you probably have feedback with you and things like that built in where you don't necessarily even want hundreds of people coming in at once. So that's one, like the biggest reason that impact is there. However, keep in mind, like a lot of the people I work with, their memberships are between 27 and 47, I would say is where most of them land. Your membership is double the price. You need half the people to make the same amount of money, you know? So like that's where the impact is going to come in. I wouldn't probably recommend that you do a free trial, but you could do some kind of credit on the first month as an all access pass bonus. That's where I would push you a little bit harder. Like let's do a webinar or some kind of really engaging workshop at the end of the summit, and then do like a more traditional pitch or offer your membership at the end of it, because we can't rely on people coming in through a trial like we can with those lower ticket offers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it totally does. And that's the thing, like guys, just out there in the world, like our Heartbeat community is like widely ranged, right?
Mm-hmm.
I look at the metrics on like what people are charging. Like, you know, the average, like what I would consider like your standard membership price is somewhere around $65 for, I think, on average, depending on, but we have folks who are in the masterclass segment too. So there's definitely adjust your scale appropriately here. Very good. Okay, so now Terry asked a question. How upfront are you about sharing if the summit is recorded, assuming it is at all? What do you do for like content protection and things like that?
So I am like, there's nothing hidden. So everything, I'm guessing you're asking, Terry, am I honest with the attendees about the fact that presentations are pre-recorded? I don't try to hide that. Okay, perfect. I don't try to hide that at all. I make that very clear. So like on our registration pages, we have a section that lists out kind of some of the details. I literally say pre-recorded presentations. And then in the FAQ, like I have a question, is any of this live? And I'll say, yes, there are live sessions, whatever, here's a schedule. But all of the other presentations are pre-recorded to avoid tech issues, so you can enjoy it on your own time, so you can get the highest, whatever. I have reasons, but none of that is hidden. I don't know that I've ever seen someone pull off something pre-recorded as live. And I've seen them try, but it's so obvious. So we're upfront from the very beginning.
Yeah, guys, in marketing, simulated live events, the closest you can get to it is transparency, that what's on the screen is pre-recorded, but the chat is moderated. Like that's the closest hybrid I've ever seen work. But again, transparency is like, you don't want to pretend, oh, I'm totally talking right now. and then you're not. We had a question in here. The screen name was obscured for me, so I'm just going to ask it. And if this was your question, by all means, let us know if you have any more follow-up to it. But how to cold contact speakers for a summit, especially without a platform? What is the typical response or acceptance rate?
So our pitch templates typically get 90% plus acceptance rate. Again, it depends so much on the positioning of your summit, how attention grabbing it is, how well targeted the speakers are. So all that disclaimer aside, most of the pitches I send are cold. I would say that's the case for most of our people. If you can connect with people before you pitch, great, let's do that. But it's fine not to have that relationship already built. The way I approach it is kind of like a two-step approach. Number one is the email, right? So I'm sending an email where I am like actually saying why I'm reaching out and like why I'm reaching out to them. And it's not like, oh, I love your podcast that I've never listened to and you look really great. Like, no, I actually dig into these people and do some research because I don't want to invite someone onto my platform if it's going to be like a garbage presentation. So it's all part of it, right? So I can be really genuine in the initial part of the pitch. And then we go into, here's what the summit is, here's what it's about, here's the goal of it. Let's get them bought in right away with that. I would love to invite you to be a speaker. Here's what's required of you. I make that so crystal clear from the very beginning. They don't have to get on a call. They don't have to respond yes that they're interested before they get the information. It's all there. And by the way, here's everything that's in it for you. And I make sure that list of what's in it for them is at least 3 times longer than what I need from them. Like I am stacking the speaker benefits. And like that's going to help so much. If you are in a niche where summits like aren't really a thing and you think your speakers will be like, what even is this? Okay, let's shorten some of that. Let's see if they're interested first. Let's get a little bit of buy-in before you overwhelm them with all the details. But if your people know what summits are, just give it to them straight from the very beginning. And then also, if your speakers have a presence on social media, I like to, like for me, I jump on Instagram and I send a quick voice message, just making a connection and letting them know that I sent an email. Check it out when you get a chance. I'm here if you have any questions. Like just kind of that 2-layer approach where they're getting the email, they're hearing my voice, and it kind of also makes sure that they see the email that could wind up in spam or ignored or whatever. But those things really help even with cold pitches, and you'll have to follow up, right? Don't expect to send 10 pitches and get 10 responses within the next day. You're going to send, I mean, I actually don't send more than 2 follow-ups because if you're having to pull teeth to get someone to answer, it's not going to be fun to get a presentation from them. But expect to do that follow-up as well.
Wonderful. Let's see. I've got more questions coming in, but before I do, I want to make sure that you guys, if you didn't see in the chat earlier, we're going to get to everybody else's questions real quick, but this was the link again, to Krista's free summit roadmap. If you do want to grab that, I think that's an excellent resource that you guys can check out. We'd love to give thank you guys for people sticking in here through the Q&A. And actually, what I'll do also is I'm going to throw another thank you quick from Heartbeat in here, and then we'll get and wrap up all the Q&A. Pulling up the screen here real quick, if you guys have been on the fence about building something and now you're like, hey, I feel like I have a strategy now. I am totally ready to do this. I'm going to do the launch. I'm going to do a summit in a box. Start a brand new Heartbeat community. So brand new Heartbeat communities right now, if you start between now and midnight on Friday Eastern time, using heartbeat.chat/Krista as the link to get to our website, a trial started through that link will get half off your first 3 months. And that's growth or starter tier. So whichever set of features you want, if you want to go to ad-based lead gen with attribution and custom domains and all the other stuff at the growth tier, you can jump right in and get half off that too. But regardless of what tier you're on, you're going to get all of the features core to Heartbeat, the ability to build the spaces for conversations, the ability to host gated and protected content, the ability to have amazing events with tickets. Really fantastic offer here to just lower that barrier to get started, get launched, make money before the offer expires. Wanted to let you guys know, so that's heartbeat.chat/Krista. It's also underneath my name when I turn the screen share off. But I'm going to get back to the Q&A so we can wrap that up real quick here. The link for the resource, Rick, I see you're in the chat. I just put it in the chat above, but I can paste in Krista's resource one more time, just so it is freshly in the chat for everybody. There you go. And I see Alicia's question here. I'm going to add that to the list. Guys, if we are tight on time, which we might be, because I love how engaged everybody is here, we may have to spill this chat over into the Hearth, which is our free-to-join community of community builders. There's about 5,000 people in there right now doing what you guys are doing, and it's free to join. You don't have to be a Heartbeat customer to get in there, but a great place to have those conversations. So if we don't get to that, I'm going to make sure that we do. Rick, I see that you don't see the link. What we're going to do is we're going to email that out after the fact, and we're going to post this on YouTube, and it's going to be in the description under the YouTube video as well. So we'll make sure it gets to you guys, even if the chat's a little wonky. There was some tech issues when we first started, so I'm wondering if that's affecting it. Let's get through the questions. I want to get a few more live if we can. Helen asks, can you have a one-day summit, or do you need to spread it over a few days? What's your opinion on length?
I am really a fan of multi-day summits, and the reason for that is that on day one of the summit, you will have so many people register. Like some people literally double the registration number on day one. If it's done after one day, those people joining partway through the day, at the end of the day, they already missed it. So I really like to see multi-day summits because of that. And then also, if part of your reason for hosting the summit is to grow your membership, people will probably need a little more time to get to know and trust you than just one day. So a multi-day summit really gives you more of a chance to build that know-like trust. So I would say a minimum of 3 days is what I would recommend just for the strategies and outcomes we've talked about today. Not that you can't do it. There's going to be a different outcome though.
Awesome. Okay. Looks like my chats are not going through for everybody, so apologize for that, guys. We're going to make sure all those links. Under Krista's name is the link for her thing. You can see it right down there. Under my name is the link for the trial for Heartbeat, the half off for 3 months. Why we put them there? Multiple placements is always good. Excellent question, Helen. We had a question from Alicia here. How do you know if your summit positioning is specific enough? What do you have a framework? Do you have a general system for that, or is that kind of hard to answer in a short way?
I mean, it's a case-by-case situation. If you want to throw a couple examples in the chat, I can say yes, no. But I would say if you can niche down further, try that, and then kind of do what I mentioned in the video. Can you find speakers who are who target that audience? So if I was like, I don't know, man, I'm going to try to think of an example here, and I'm really bad at on-the-fly examples. But like, I'm going to host a summit I have a 4-year-old, for moms of 4-year-olds who put their shoes on the wrong feet all the time. That's probably too specific, because I'm not going to find other people who target that specific audience. And how many presentations can I make with that topic? You know, so if you can't figure out good presentations to fit in there, you can't find other speakers to target, that's probably a hint that you went a little bit too far. Alicia, I help Christian women manage emotions. That's definitely not too niche. I would say, can we make Christian women even more niche?
Okay. We're going to keep going, grab a few more questions in here. And let's see if I can't knock this out real quick. If we all have the same audience, i.e. the speakers and the summit host, don't each/all speakers, are they frightened to lose clients to each other? Do we see each other as competitors? Or is there just a niche within the topic that do not match 100%? So each is covering a part or the other, so there's not 100% Venn diagram overlap. Is longer question, but what do we see as far as like competition, et cetera, or risk?
Yeah, so like, you don't necessarily want to create a summit of people who are direct competition. I don't have a problem with some people in the summit being, for me, direct competition, because people are going to gravitate to the people who are meant for them. But we're going to look at it from a little bit wider lens. Like, here's an example I can give. I would not host a summit and then invite other people who specifically target or specifically help people grow their memberships with summits. That is a little bit too direct. I'll bring in people who help with summits in other ways. Like, oh my gosh, if someone will do tech support for someone's summit, please come on speak at my summit, right? Maybe they specialize in, I don't even know what, summits to launch one-on-one services and book them out for a year. Great, please come speak at the summit. We're taking different angles. In my most recent summit, I did have one person who I would maybe consider direct competition, but that didn't worry me. Like, I'm the host, so I'm going to stand out a little bit more. And if someone else goes to her, there's a reason for that, right? And I don't typically see speakers worry about that, because they want to be on that stage, right? So if someone else is going to host a summit about summits, I want to be there. I want my name as a part of that event. So there's that part of it as well. So I wouldn't put too much worry with that.
There you go. Yeah, honestly, and guys, in general, as a marketing person, there's so much more abundance than it feels like we have. Like, even growing a company like Heartbeat, we're like, oh, there's other software out there that kind of sort of does what we do. And what if we accidentally stand too close to them? Will our customers just like osmosis suck over to the competition? And it's like, no, there's so many people who know about none of them existing that if we just focus on helping people, it kind of just works. And like, it's just important to think about it that way. We are close on time. We did start a little late again, and I apologize for the tech startup issues at the beginning. I've got like 8 questions that I am not sure we're going to get to them all. Let's rip through them as many as we can. Heather asks, can you recover like what was included in the All Access Pass? What was, just real quick, the main hit, the big hits on that one?
Okay, so these things are not required. Just figure out what you want this to look like for you. But ongoing access to presentations or longer term access, like notes or transcripts or something to go along with it. That's optional. Maybe a private podcast feed of the presentation so people have another option for listening on the go. Speaker bonuses, that's huge. We want a bundle of speaker bonuses, a membership trial if that works for you. And then optionally some more like hands-on, really results-based live sessions, or maybe sometimes co-working or networking sessions, something to bring in some extra engagement.
Okay. Let's see. I'm going to hold a couple of these are specific, guys, and I apologize if I'm passing on a few, but we're going to continue the conversation. And Krista, you're more than welcome in the Hearth if you're not already there.
Oh, yeah, I'm there.
Close the replay. You can always come in. Awesome.
Yeah.
Rich asks, what about the legal aspects of who owns and is able to distribute the content? Do we need to worry about that when we're running a summit? How do you do that?
Yeah, for sure. So you absolutely want to have a speaker agreement that maps this out. I don't claim ownership of someone's like intellectual property. I'm like, I have the permission to share your presentation in the context of the summit. Some of my membership clients will also have their contract say that they have access to put the presentation in their membership. So you want to outline that. What do you have permission to do with their presentation? But I don't say this is my property. And I'll say you also have the rights to do what you want with this. So I'll if we did an interview, I'll send them the interview after. If they want to use it after the summit, I'm okay with that. You can kind of decide what you want, but the tighter your rights are for the speaker, the more pushback you're going to get on that agreement. But you absolutely need to have express permission to take that video and monetize off of it. So you need to have an agreement.
Yeah. And that leads to the last question I think we have time for here. And I'm sorry about the guys, a couple of questions that we didn't quite get to. But Alicia asked, what platforms do you suggest for hosting summit content? Is this something we can do in Heartbeat? It ties into ownership, right? So yes, you can put protected content in docs, behind a membership, behind a one-time ticket. They can have access to a summit event on your calendar and buy all these document sections with embedded content that's pre-recorded. You can then have conversations in chat. But do you have permission to now have that stuff inside your platform, your community space? Because remember, you own everything you put on Heartbeat in your community. So do you have any other recommendations in situations where you need to not have ownership of the content? How do you manage that for hosting and things like that, Krista?
Nothing specific is coming to mind. Really, you should host your summit on whatever you're already using. So if you're using Heartbeat for your membership, for your community, for whatever else, everything for your summit, those pieces should also be in there. I know that some people might use lead pages or something. I don't know if anyone uses lead pages anymore, but something for super 100% custom landing pages. Great. Do the same thing for your summit landing pages. You don't need any specific tech. Heartbeat has so much of what you need built in and done really, really well. So if you're using Heartbeat, please utilize it for your summit. Absolutely.
I did not prep her for that plug, guys, but thank you for that.
That's true.
I appreciate that so much. All right, we are about at time, guys. What I want you to do right before we log off, drop one thought in the chat real quick with one thing that you're taking away from this. What's your favorite thing that you learned, something you're really proud of? Just rapid fire, shoot that right off to us. And as we wrap up, as a reminder, guys, we do have these sessions recorded. The live stream didn't quite work as I expected right off the get-go, but we're going to get this uploaded to YouTube so you can watch the replay there as soon as possible. And we have the unanswered questions. I've got them written down. I'm going to save the whole chat. And then, Krista, we can carry this forward into the hearth. If you guys want to reach Krista, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Instagram at Summit in a Box is probably the fastest way. And I don't ignore Instagram like I do my inbox. So.
Wonderful. And we've got people who are you don't need a large membership. Totally made the connection between the power of summits and memberships. I was going to do a live summit in March, and I was feeling a lot of pressure, but I think I'm going to switch to virtual. We've got people who are empowered directly in line with what we covered today. So really excited to see you guys learned what you came here for. As a reminder, you can join the Hearth going to heartbeat.chat/join Hearth. You can start up a trial with the link below my name down here. Start with heartbeat.chat/Krista to get half off for 3 months. Use her link, whichever side of the screen I don't know which side of the screen we're on. Use Krista's link to get the free resource for a framework. And thank you, guys. Thank you for being here. Krista, hang out for 1 sec. We'll be in the green room after we're done live. But I just want to thank everybody who tuned in to learn. We appreciate you all. I can't wait to see what you do when you put these strategies into action. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate being here for another tutorial. We'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.